Right, well, our chief correspondent, Kaveh Solokul, has hot-footed it into the studio for more on this, and this has escalated really quickly, hasn't it? Where did this all start to go wrong for Amorim?
Look, I think the bottom line is Manchester United are a very difficult club to manage, and Ruben Amorim felt that he was not the manager. He felt that he was being treated as the head coach, and I know his job title is the head coach, but when he took the job, he was given assurances that he would have a big say, he would be the one in charge. So I think his feeling is that there's been a power struggle behind the scenes. His relationship with the director of football, Jason Wilcox, has had its ups and downs. There have been some disagreements behind the scenes about their strategy during this transfer window. So this has been bubbling away for quite a while. And we know that Ruben Amorim is somebody who is very honest, can be quite emotional, says what he thinks in news conferences. And we have had hints that this was coming. And I think from his perspective, this has not come out of the blue. He is not surprised. He knew the writing was on the wall, but he feels that he has done a pretty good job overall. And if he'd kept his job, and if United had been willing to back him, he was very, very bullish that United would have finished.
Could be enough, easily, to be in the Champions League, and yet the changing manager at this crucial point. Is it a risky time to do this?
Absolutely. I think Ruben Amorim feels that if he'd been allowed to sign one or two experienced players this month, and once the players who were away at AFCON had come back, then United would have had a very good chance of finishing in the top 5 places. And 5th will probably be good enough to get you in the Champions League this season. So he feels that progress was being made. It's a big, big risk to get rid of Ruben Amorim. Also, you're going to have to pay him off. We know how much it has cost Manchester United to pay off managers in the past. And if you look at the recent history of Manchester United since Sir Alex Ferguson left, you can make a very, very good argument that they should have stuck with every single manager that they actually ended up sacking. David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. OK, Eric Ten Hag, I think that one is debatable because of his record in the transfer market. But you could say all these managers, if they had been given more time, United would be in a better position than they're in at the moment. I have some sympathy with Ruben Amorim because Manchester United, not only are they one of the biggest clubs in the world, they're up there with the profile of a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, but they're different from those clubs because of the ownership structure. You've got the Glazer family who basically own the club. You've got some of the shares who traded on the New York Stock Exchange. You've got Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe who only own 30% of the club but are actually running the club. Then you've got the fact that so many people have been laid off, there have been so many redundancies, cutbacks, and you've got new people in running the club who don't have much of a link with Manchester United. And then you've got Ruben Amorim and his coaching team who are trying to run the team and the football side, first team as well. So it's a very, very difficult job. Ruben Amorim saw this coming, and I think, in a way, Ruben Amorim has been the author of his own misfortune, because I think if he'd just kept quiet and hadn't been so honest and hadn't given quite so much away in news conferences, then maybe he would still have his job. But who knows? Maybe he didn't want the job anymore. Maybe he thought, as you could see from his performance in the news conference yesterday, it felt like he was a man who'd had enough. He was basically saying to the hierarchy at Manchester United, back me or sack me, because I've had enough of this. And he was basically saying, I'm only going to be here for a maximum another 18 months anyway, and I'm not going to quit. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do. And they have responded at the first opportunity, the earliest opportunity this morning, by saying to him, thank you very much, see you later.
Yeah, it's not backing, it's sacking is basically what they've done. You mentioned the way Manchester United is run there. Does Ineos' decision-making need to come under serious scrutiny again after this? Because they've made mistakes in the past, high-profile mistakes. This was their big decision, and it's ended like this. At a time But no one was really expecting it. They could have done this before.
They appointed Ruben Amorim knowing that he plays with three at the back. They knew what they were getting into. They knew that the way he plays goes against Manchester United's traditions. Dan Ashworth, for instance, somebody who was not in favour of Ruben Amorim being appointed, he ended up losing his job at Manchester United, in part over the decision to appoint Ruben Amorim. So, yes, Ineos have made big mistakes. I am now thinking of an interview that Jim Ratcliffe gave recently. And I remember being here on set with you, talking about it, when Jim Ratcliffe was having a go at the media. He was having a go at journalists. He was saying, we are going to back Ruben Amorim. We are not going to... I'm sorry here if I don't recall his exact words, but basically what he was saying is, I'm not going to listen to the opinions of journalists and columnists.
Any old journalist
who go off on one every day. We're going to back our managers. I took issue with what he said then, because the reporters who cover Manchester United are some of the best reporters in the business. They know the club inside out. And for him to say what he said, I thought was a little bit strange.
Tell you what, you don't need to paraphrase there, because we have that grab from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, which was in October, and he said this about Ruben Amorim.
We have to be patient, and we have a long-term plan. It isn't a light switch, and you can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one. I mean, I would say Ruben, he needs to demonstrate that he's a great coach over 3 years.
So you give him 3 years?
Yeah, that's where I would be. Yeah, 3 years, because football's not overnight.
No, and as you say, the Alex Ferguson example is exactly that, isn't it?
And you look at Arteta at Arsenal. He had a miserable time for the first couple of years.
He's a great coach over 3 years. Need to give him time. Did Ratcliffe and Ineos look very silly now after that?
Well, that's not for me to say, but that interview was in October, so that was 3 months ago. So Ruben Amorim didn't get 3 years, he got 3 months. Now, I think from United's point of view, what I would say is we're seeing a pattern here of these head coaches coming in and wanting to get more power than modern football clubs are willing to give them. We've seen it with Chelsea and Enzo Maresca as well. What these head coaches have to realise, from a club's point of view, is that they are part of a team behind the team. Gone are the days when you're going to have a manager who's in charge of everything. Unless you're Pep Guardiola, you're not going to get that kind of control. And even he doesn't have total control at Manchester City. I think Mikel Arteta has got himself more and more power because he's been so successful and looks like he's going to win the title.
As well,
Emery as well. I think I was reading someone call Aston Villa Unai Emery FC. He's got himself a lot of power as well. But by and large, the modern head coach is the head coach. You've got to get on with the sporting directors, the recruitment team, the medical team, the performance team, the data and analyst team. Those relationships have got to be working well. And if you get into a situation where those relationships are fracturing, then you're going to end up with the situation that we've got now at Manchester United and the situation we had at Chelsea. The difference between United and Chelsea is that Enzo Maresca decided that he had had enough. He wasn't actually sacked, he stepped down, although that's all being sorted out by lawyers now. But in this situation, it's Manchester United who've decided, look, enough is enough. We cannot have our head coach saying the kind of things that he has been saying in the media and at press conferences over the last couple of days.
I just want to finish this chat by talking about Bruno Fernandes, because he's turned down opportunities to leave the club in the past. Is there a danger now he might have a change of heart?
That is a very good question, a very good question. Bruno Fernandes is somebody who's very, very close to Ruben Amorim. Many people believe that if it wasn't for Ruben Amorim, Bruno Fernandes would have left Manchester United last summer. Bruno Fernandes himself has come out in an interview in Portugal a couple of weeks ago and said that he felt that Manchester United were happy, would have been happy for him to leave in the summer, and he felt that he was a bit hurt by that. Ruben Amorim said to him, I want you to stay. You have to stay. You are a very, very important player for me. Even though he's been injured recently, Ruben Amorim has been talking about the fact that he's always on the training ground, helping out, observing, training. So if I was a United supporter, I would be worried about the long-term future of Bruno Fernandes. I'm not sitting here and saying they're going to sell him this January, he's going to go to Saudi Arabia. Not at all. I'm not saying that. But everybody knows what his contractual situation is. Everybody knows about the interest from clubs, not just in Saudi Arabia, but across Europe as well. And everybody knows how close he was to Ruben Amorim. So very interesting to see what kind of response, if any, we get from Bruno Fernandes on social media today.
This escalated fast. But let's be honest, this didn't come out of nowhere. At Manchester United, the problem wasn't results. The problem was power. Ruben Amorim didn't see himself as a head coach. He saw himself as the manager. And the moment he realized that real control sat elsewhere, with Jason Wilcox, with recruitment, with Ineos, the countdown started. This was a power struggle, plain and simple. Amorim was promised influence. He didn't get it. He wanted signings. He got resistance. And instead of staying quiet, he did the one thing modern clubs hate. He told the truth in public. And that's when Ineos pulled the plug. The irony? United are 3 points off fourth. Champions League football was genuinely achievable. And yet, at the most critical point of the season, they've chosen instability again. That's not planning. That's panic. And let's not forget this part. In October, Jim Ratcliffe went on record saying Amorim needed 3 years. 3 years. He got 3 months. That makes the club look chaotic, not the manager. Now yes, Amorim shares blame. He spoke too freely. He drew red lines. He basically said, back me or sack me, and United chose sacking. But here's the bigger issue. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, United have sacked every manager, and somehow ended up worse each time. Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Ten Hag, different styles, same ending. That tells you the rot isn't on the touchline. And finally, keep an eye on Bruno Fernandes. He stayed because of Amorim. He trusted him. He was convinced by him. If I'm a United fan, I'm nervous. Not today, not tomorrow, but long term. Because when your best player starts losing faith in the project, the collapse doesn't announce itself. It creeps. Manchester United didn't back their coach. They sacked him. And once again, the cycle resets.